The homegrown.
Nope. Wrong. The word you're looking for is American citizens, not homegrowns, okay? Homegrowns is what your cousin calls the crappy weed he's trying to sell you.
America, we're witnessing a meltdown of epic proportions as Trump's deportation frenzy has gone from terrifying immigrants to threatening actual U.S. citizens. And now, the nation's most watched late-night hosts are sounding the alarm.
Because people from overseas are frightened to come here, okay?
That's Stephen Colbert revealing how Trump's policies are literally scaring tourists away, costing America billions in lost revenue. But that's just the beginning of this nightmare.
Why I feel like a bird, I guess. We're all just angry little birds while this lunatic just pulls things out of his ass.
Jimmy Kimmel didn't mince words about Trump's refusal to comply with the highest court in the land. But the most chilling part? Trump now wants to start deporting American citizens.
I call them homegrown criminals.
Yes.
I mean, the
homegrowns.
The ones that grew up and something went wrong and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat. We are looking into it and we want to do it. I would love to do that.
You heard that right. The President of the United States just announced he wants to deport American citizens. We're not making this up. And it gets even worse when you see how a federal judge is reacting. Judge Paulaginis telling Trump officials, cancel vacations, cancel other appointments. There will be no tolerance for gamesmanship or grandstanding. Buckle up because this constitutional crisis is turning into a full-blown disaster that not even comedy can fully capture. Late-night television has become America's trusted source of truth in these chaotic times. As Trump's deportation machine kicks into high gear, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel are using their platforms to expose what's really happening. On Wednesday night, Colbert dropped a bombshell that Trump doesn't want you to know about.
Because last month, visits to the U.S. from overseas fell 11.6%. And in Las Vegas alone, the international tourism decline is expected to mean an $18 million drop in room revenue. And because people from overseas are frightened to come here, okay?
The economic impact is already devastating. Tourism Economics forecasts a 9.4% decline in international visitors for 2025, with Canadian tourism down over 20%. That's billions of dollars and tens of thousands of American jobs at risk. All because Trump's deportation hysteria is scaring tourists away. But the economic disaster pales in comparison to the constitutional crisis unfolding. Just one night earlier, Jimmy Kimmel delivered a blistering takedown of Trump's refusal to comply with a unanimous Supreme Court ruling.
Just flat out cruel and criminal behavior is staggering. As you probably know, the Supreme Court ordered the White House to return this man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They're ignoring the Supreme Court that voted unanimously against them on this and even blocked a senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen, who went to El Salvador to get him today. The government would not allow them to even meet.
Kimmel was referring to the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador despite having protected status. Even after the Supreme Court unanimously ruled he must be returned, Trump's administration has refused to comply.
Why I feel like a bird, I guess. We're all just angry little birds while this lunatic just pulls things out of his ass. Trump, who seems to be doing about 12 interviews a day now, sat down with Fox News en Español, Fox Noticias, and vomited out a new idea to have immigrants deport themselves.
The case that has Kimmel and constitutional experts so alarmed is truly shocking. Abrego Garcia is currently languishing in El Salvador's notorious terrorism confinement center, Secoti, a maximum security prison known for inhumane conditions. What makes this case especially outrageous is that the Trump administration admitted in court that Abrego Garcia's deportation was an administrative error. Yet they still refuse to bring him back, claiming they can't force El Salvador to release him. Enter U.S. District Judge Paulaginis, who is clearly fed up with the administration's defiance. On Tuesday, she convened an emergency hearing that quickly turned into a judicial beatdown.
Judge demanded to know what the federal government has done to abide by a court order to return him to the U.S.
For 3 hours, Judge Sinis grilled government attorneys about their failure to comply with court orders. Her patience finally snapped with this stunning directive: cancel vacations, cancel other appointments, There will be no tolerance for gamesmanship or grandstanding. Legal experts say this kind of language from a federal judge is extremely rare and reflects the gravity of the situation. And Judge Ginnis isn't alone. Just a day earlier, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg found probable cause to hold Trump administration officials in criminal contempt for ignoring his separate order halting deportations to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act. The judiciary seems to be drawing a line in the sand, but Trump appears determined to cross it. Just as this constitutional showdown was heating up, Trump dropped a bombshell that shocked even his supporters. In an interview with Fox Noticias, Trump revealed his administration is exploring ways to deport American citizens.
I call them homegrown criminals.
Yes.
I mean, the
homegrowns.
the ones that grew up and something went wrong and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat. We are looking into it and we want to do it. I would love to do that.
Let that sink in. The President of the United States just said he would love to deport American citizens. Constitutional scholars were quick to point out the obvious problem. Harvard Law professor Lawrence Tribe's tweet. This is perhaps the most plainly unconstitutional proposal ever suggested by a sitting president. Citizenship cannot be revoked as punishment. This follows a pattern of escalation. What started as targeting undocumented immigrants has expanded to deporting legal residents with minor offenses, then to removing people with protected status, and now to potentially deporting U.S. citizens. Colbert couldn't resist mocking Trump's bizarre terminology.
A federal judge threatening a contempt investigation into the Trump administration for deporting more than 200 Venezuelan immigrants to a notorious prison in El Salvador.
The public reaction to these unprecedented events has been swift and fierce. During a town hall in Iowa, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley faced angry constituents demanding answers.
You gonna bring that guy back from El Salvador? Yeah. Why not?
Another voter was even more direct.
We would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Our government cannot do anything.
Grassley's attempts to defend the administration's actions only further inflamed the crowd. Even some Republicans are starting to break ranks. Senator Lisa Murkowski issued a rare rebuke on April 15. Murkowski saying, "No American citizen should ever fear deportation. That's not who we are as a country. I'm deeply troubled by the president's comments." Meanwhile, the human cost of these policies continues to mount. What we're witnessing is nothing less than a constitutional crisis unfolding in real time. Trump's administration is openly defying the judiciary, threatening the very concept of American citizenship, and damaging America's reputation globally. As Kimmel put it,
Trump administration even admitted that they deported him by mistake, but they won't bring him back. They refuse to bring him back. They won't even let him come back. They're ignoring the Supreme Court that voted unanimously against them on this.
The American Bar Association seems to agree. In an extraordinary statement released yesterday, they called the administration's defiance of court orders a direct threat to the rule of law and separation of powers that form the bedrock of our democracy. Perhaps most telling is what former Trump White House counsel Don McGahn told The Atlantic. McGahn saying, "This crosses a line that should terrify every American. The Supreme Court is the final arbiter of the law, full stop." What makes this moment so dangerous is how it all fits together. The administration appears to be testing how far it can push beyond constitutional limits. From defying court orders to threatening citizenship itself, each step is more extreme than the last.
I mean, what can we do? America is a gentle, passive giant that would never put pressure on a sovereign nation. Now then, Denmark, suck on these tariffs and gimme Greenland.
Behind all the legal drama are real families being torn apart. Jennifer Vasquez Sura, the wife of wrongfully deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia, made this emotional plea outside the courthouse.
Stop playing political games with the life of Kilmar. This administration has already taken so much from my children's. Our children are asking, when would you come home?
And while ordinary families suffer, Trump continues to escalate his rhetoric. Just days ago, he suggested paying undocumented immigrants for self-deportation.
We're going to have a self-deportation program, which we haven't even announced yet. I guess I'm announcing it to you. Why
Yes.
not, Rachel? Here it is. The only thing I haven't determined is what are we going to do? We're going to give them a stipend. We're going to give them some money and a plane ticket. And then we're going to work with them. If they're good, if we want them back in, we're going to work with them to get them back in as quickly as we can.
Amazing.
Kimmel couldn't resist pointing out the irony.
Amazing. What a deal. You know, usually when Trump offers an immigrant money and plane tickets to go away, it's because he's getting divorced.
But the situation is no laughing matter. With federal judges threatening contempt charges, the Supreme Court being openly defied, and now American citizens potentially in the crosshairs, we've entered uncharted and dangerous territory. What do you think? Has Trump's deportation nightmare gone too far? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more viral votes.